Why not the public?
Yeah, well, there are laws in place that give parents the right to access that, but the challenge is in the details. So
Mm-hmm.
every public school has a curriculum and instruction committee that theoretically anyway approves the materials that are presented in class. The problem is when you get down to individual teachers and individual classrooms, um, you know, understandably, a principal and administrator can't be in every classroom to know what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
and so parents really have to be vigilant. In this case, the principal kind of admitted that someone allowed this group to come in, but didn't have proper oversight to determine what they were doing, and allowed this group to
Mm-hmm.
conduct these surveys, which violate federal law. And the really problematic thing here, at least as we sit here today, is that according to the principal's letter, no one's going to be held accountable and no one's going to be punished. As I
Mm-hmm.
understand it, under this federal statute, the penalty is loss of funds, which wouldn't seem right in this case because it would punish the wrong people.
Yeah.
And I think that, the leader at the top who allowed this to happen, and who, last year when parents raised the issue and he accused them of spreading misinformation, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the person that should be held accountable.
So what will you do? What are parents, what are parents formulating here to make somebody accountable and make sure this does not happen again?
Yeah, I mean, in this school district, I think parents that
Mm-hmm.
feel the way that I do and that others that raise concerns are kind of in the minority. So, and they've been kind of bullied into a corner, and just, when they showed up during the pandemic to speak
Yes.
at meetings, they were shut down and sort of ignored. And so a lot of them just stopped. I think this has sort of reinvigorated some people and caused them to take notice. So I think that hopefully that will happen. And candidly, I've been really disappointed with the local Republicans, elected Republicans, who really haven't stepped up. In Pennsylvania, they just
Mm-hmm.
approved the budget. I think that, it's now almost $20 billion to the public education system, and yet parents are being crowded out and not, marginalized. I've reached out to multiple elected officials, both Republican and Democrat, and none of them have really stepped up and done anything in this case. And so I'm hopeful that this maybe will get some attention, and that
Yes.
elected officials will start to do something.
I hear this all the time. Chad Williams, I hope we can continue the conversation and wake up parents, because this is going on not just in Chester County, as I talk about all the time, but across the region. Chad Williams, great job. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Tom. Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's switch over. I know we want to talk with Beth Ann Rossica, and she's a local mom who, at one point, yes, was a Democrat, is an education advocate, somebody who is passionate, and much like Chad Williams, a parent who during the pandemic saw what was happening and saw the. I mean, it's not ironic. It's just simply contradictory. And so Beth Ann Rossica was somebody who was awakened by the mandates and how ridiculous it was, and how children suffered, in particular children with already maybe dealing with learning disabilities, or maybe differences, however you want to say that, and disabilities. And so Beth Ann Rossica, you know her by now. She's a regular. She's a local mom, as well as an education expert and advocate. And she's written a great piece, another great piece, of course, in Broad and Liberty. We love Broad and Liberty, but talking about government overreach. And that is really something that propelled Beth Ann Rossica into politics. That's the way she's, starting her piece in Broad and Liberty. Good morning, Beth Ann.
Good morning, Dawn. Thanks for having me on the show.
Always, of course. Just your reaction to another parent in a different area, but Chad Williams and that battle. I believe at least in two publications that I saw, the story locally in Chester County is now making some national headlines in Chester County. Your reaction to what Chad Williams said about parental rights, and the fact they had to battle, and much like you've done, file these freedom of information requests to even know what's going on in their kids' schools.
No, absolutely. I mean, Chad and I know Chad. He doesn't live too far from me. We connect on different issues. And he alerted me to this situation at his school district in Unionville, Chadds Ford. And interestingly, I've done a couple of right to know requests to other school districts in Chester County to see if they also participated in this training and in these surveys. So I think there'll be more to come on that, because I am expecting that this is not just limited to Unionville, Chadds Ford. I'm guessing that there are other districts involved. And the one thing I do want to say about this is that, you know, the Crime Victims Center here in Chester County, I really don't blame them for the situation with Unionville, Chadds Ford School District. They have a program. They do a pre and post survey, and that's what they do. I mean, during the pandemic, the Crime Victims Center there did incredible work for women and children who were in battered situations and provided safe housing for those families during that very, very difficult situation. And they continue to do that now. So there's a lot of good that the Crime Victims Center does. Now, whether you agree with their program or not, that to me is a district issue. That the district decided to bring that program in. They should have vetted it. They should have reviewed the survey, and they should have gotten parent permission if they wanted to proceed. So from my perspective, this is an epic failure on the part of the school district not to properly vet the program coming in and to seek parental permission to participate in the survey. So we're going to see what happens with some of these other districts that I've submitted right to know requests to see if anybody else has been involved in this as well. So more to come on that.
Good. I look forward to it. Yeah, and I didn't even mention them in the survey because, to your point, it's not really about them. And in fact, a lot of schools, I know in the private schools, the Catholic schools, they may do a similar program where they talk about your body and saying no and what no means and consent. You don't need the genderqueer witch necessarily to come in and talk to the kids and then expand on, hey, thinking about your gender identity and kind of going beyond those borders. And I think it does actually put the Crime Victims Center maybe in a poor light when in fact they do a lot of good. So
yes, no, I think it is. It's a difficult situation. And like I said, for me, it comes all down to that it is the school district's responsibility to clearly vet anybody that's coming into those schools. So I put the fault there.
Yeah. And I will look forward. I know you're always investigating. And I also, my question is that because to go into my kid's school and volunteer at any age, K through 12, as you know, I mean, it's the law and it's the school rule, whether you're private or public schools, that you have to have your clearances, even to go and volunteer. So I'm hoping that individual who went to the school had the clearances, but that's yet another problem if that's problematic if they did not.
Correct. I would agree.
So I know you're going to look into it, but let's get into your latest piece, and that's about the cell phone issue and holding the phone, as you entitled your latest Broad and Liberty piece. Take us through what you're talking about, Beth Ann.
Sure. So it's interesting because a lot of things came together all at once. I was notified that Senator Ryan Aument out in Lancaster County was proposing legislation for banning cell phones in public schools. And then I had a substitute teacher reach out to me that works in Chester County, talking to me about basically how bad the situation is in the classroom with cell phones, and that we really can't control what's going on and how many problems it's creating. And then simultaneously, I was reading this book called The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. And so it was kind of the trifecta of all these things that came together that caused me to really drill down and look at this issue. And I will start with, as a parent, that, you know, I have two children in high school. One goes to a high school that is cell phone free. You are not allowed to have your cell phone out at all during the day. And the other has a rule that during classes, you're not allowed to use your cell phones, but that it's not easily enforced. And so I see in my household how this plays out, that, you know, I have one child without cell phone all day who seems very much more engaged in school than my other child who has access to their cell phone pretty much all day long, even though they're not supposed to. So, and obviously there's differences between the schools, there's differences between my kids, but I definitely see a correlation between cell phone accessibility during the school day and engagement in the classroom. So that's like my own little science experiment here at home. But so when I read this book, The Anxious Generation, and Dawn, if you have not read it, and if your readers have not read it, I highly recommend that you order this book, go to the bookstore, buy this book immediately. It was one of the most impactful books that I have read in a very long time, and I read a lot of books, so it's saying a lot. Jonathan Haidt is a social psychologist, and he went through sort of the history of parenting in the United States and actually worldwide, and talks about how in the early 2000s and the 2010s, parenting really shifted and parents became very, very overprotective of their children in the real world, worried about predators, worried about kidnapping. You know, when I was a kid, I grew up, my parents didn't know where I was all day long. I ran around the neighborhood and had to be, home by dinner time. And that really changed starting in the 2010s. And then that happened, and then the advent of smartphones has really changed how children are growing up in our country and really in our world. And it's not to the good. And again, I base a lot of this on watching my own kids and the battles that I have with them about, get off your phone, engage with people, have conversations. And it really, really is a challenge. And Haidt really talks about how this has become such an epidemic that, parents are really at a loss as to what to do because it's just so prevalent. There are so few kids now that don't have smartphones really by the time they get to middle school that if you want to hold out as a parent, you're really going to get a hard time because your kid is going to be pretty much the only one without a smartphone. So he walks through the research on this mental health crisis that really has come about with the advent of the smartphone and kids having access to smartphones 24/7 and social media and the impact that these things are having. It's really rewiring our children's brains. And I mean, I think any parent out there would be hard-pressed not to agree with me that you have arguments with your kids all the time about getting off your phone, getting off your technology, go outside and get some fresh air. And it's really becoming a problem. And now it's not just a problem in our society, but I do believe that it is impacting our kids' ability to learn academically and to grow socially. And so when I read Senator Ahmed's legislation, again, my first reaction was, I'm not about government interference. I want my parenting decisions left to my family. But he convinced me through the research about the detrimental impacts. I mean, to me, this is now no different than cigarettes or alcohol or drugs for kids. We do have laws that restrict children from engaging in those activities. And I am now starting to see the cell phone use as deleterious as, my kids drinking alcohol. And I think that, and it's a strong statement. And that's why I really encourage people to read this book, because for me to say I'm okay with the government interfering here, it's that much of a crisis. And, I've gotten some pushback from people saying, well, this is a parent's job. Parents have to do this. And I don't disagree with that. But I will tell you, as a parent, it is incredibly challenging parenting children in this technological age that we live in. And I think that to have some rules at school, now keep in mind, these are public schools. These are government buildings. For the government to say that children cannot use their cell phones in a government building, I think that that's okay. And I think that for teachers, too, I think that we need to eliminate the distractions. I've heard from many teachers that say they're tired of fighting the cell phone fight. They're tired of taking time away from instruction to argue with kids about using their cell phones during class. So I think that there are a lot of reasons why we need to eliminate cell phones in schools. The other pushback that I've heard from parents is that they're very worried that if there's an emergency, if there's a problem at school, that their child is not going to be able to reach them. Well, I grew up in a day when we didn't have cell phones, and if there was an emergency, there was no way for me to get a hold of my parents. So I think that is a little bit more of an overstatement. But the other piece is that every kid, even in elementary school now, all the schools, the kids have either Chromebooks or iPads or whatever, and they have email addresses. They have school email addresses.
Yes.
So if your child had an emergency or they needed to get in touch with you, they could easily send you an email from their school device. So I don't see that as a detriment or a reason not to move forward with this. So I, like I said, I feel really strongly about this, and I think that parents and educators really need to read this book. It actually has me rethinking my own cell phone usage, because I talk about this in the article. I mean, think about your colleagues. Think about being in a meeting. How many people can sit through a meeting without glancing down at their phone? It's very disturbing to me that even adults can't stay focused on the task at hand. And I think that with more people working from home, it's even more prevalent. When you're on a Zoom meeting, you can glance at your phone and nobody can see what you're doing. So if parents, if adults can't control their social media or their phone usage, how can we expect kids to be able to do that?
Yeah, and I think, it was such a beautiful evening last night. So we went for a little walk in the Chestnut Hill section of Philadelphia and went to Bread and Beck's ice cream. And in the middle of it, because I'm always working, and your phone always makes it so that you don't have a separation. And my kids were like, "Mom, could you put the cell phone away?" They were being the parent. I said, I'm setting up something here, and I'm trying to get blah, blah, blah. But it's true that we need to all, to your point, I would be a hypocrite if I didn't say this. I'm probably the worst offender in my family, even over my kids, because of my job. And because I'm always working. But I think that's a bad example, and you're calling me out here on it. I feel guilty, but because last night they were like, "Mom, will you please put the phone away?" And but it's true. I think because of the cell phone, sometimes we're not present. We're not present because we're trying to pretend, and we're quickly trying to do something, and so it takes away from your life's journey, your experience, if you will. The other piece I see is, I would ask, and I've asked my one son this, the earbuds. So I think, even though they have the rule to keep the phone silenced and off, and it can be in emergency mode, so they could call 911. The problem is, in some classes or cases, the kids in school could have earbuds in. They could be listening to some show like, they're streaming The Sopranos. They're a senior in high school. You know what I mean? And the teacher, nobody would know it.
Yeah, so the substitute teacher that reached out to me anonymously also shared that concern about the earbuds. Yeah. And I will tell you that the earbuds are a huge source of consternation in my house, because I'm calling to my kids saying, "Dinner's ready," and nobody can hear me because they have the earbuds in. And so then there's lots of yelling and screaming on my end about take those things out of your ears. And the other problem with that is, as parents, we can't hear what our kids are listening to. Yeah. So that's a whole nother problem with the earbuds. But I will tell you that part of the legislation that Senator Ahmed is proposing, and what schools that I know have a complete no cell phone usage, these cell phones, so you could do one of two things. Like my youngest son, his school, your phone goes in your locker and it stays there all day, and you can't have the earbuds all day long. So you're shut off from your phone from the time school starts to the time school ends. What Senator Ahmed is proposing, and actually I talked with the principal at Villa Maria, an all-girls high school out here in Malvern.
I have a niece who graduated from Villa Maria.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So what they did when they made the change, they're using these cell phone bags. So the phone goes in a bag, and you don't have access to it, and you have no connectivity to it. So you're cut off. Your earbuds are cut off. Your watch is cut off. Everything is cut off. So again, there is no, being able to listen, to The Sopranos on your earbuds. Because to your point, everything needs to go. I mean, kids, this is what I talk about in the article. Kids are in school to learn and to grow. And I can tell you that if they are constantly distracted by their phones and getting caught up in these nonsensical issues on social media, particularly for girls, these young girls, the incidence of mental health crises with these girls because of what they do on TikTok or Instagram or Snapchat is causing anxiety, depression, and an increase in suicide. I mean, that's why I said, to me, these devices and the technologies that they're using have the potential to be more harmful than drugs and alcohol on our children. And I think that we have to start looking at it that way. And to your point, we as adults, and Dawn, I include myself in this, we have to do a better job role modeling that we want to be present. And I've even been looking at things like, sometimes if we're watching a show at night, I would have my phone with me to glance at my phone while I was watching whatever it was on TV. And I finally said, I'm not going to do that anymore. If we're going to watch something as a family, I'm going to leave my phone in the other room for the duration, and I'll deal with whatever's there after the fact. So even taking baby steps to be conscious of how often you're on your phone and not present with other people, I think that that's the first step of awareness for all of us societally, to understand that we're actually missing out on life because we're too busy watching it go by on our phone.
Beautifully said. Beth Ann Rossica, B.A. Rossica at broadandliberty.com. You're a great mom, education advocate. Thank you so much, Beth Ann, for joining me again. Until next time, my friend.
Thanks, Dawn. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Yeah, and it's 87 degrees we're going up to today, with rain and storms moving into tomorrow. So if you want to comment on what Beth Ann has said, or Chad, the first dad, they're both from Chester County. No surprise that they knew each other. But talking about education, talking about parental rights, I'm going to admit, if I'm watching a movie with my husband, it depends. I'm still going to sneak the phone, maybe say, I'm a little chilly, have a blanket. I'm bad at that. I am. So maybe I have to make that first move.
I try to. We're on our phones all the time with work. I try to separate myself, but it's hard. It is, yeah.
So I'm not going to pretend I'm holier than thou. I'm probably the worst offender.
I mean, neither am I. I get sucked into it. It's easy to.
Yeah, so true, Anthony. Well, we appreciate you being here. 855-839-1210. This is the Dawn Show. We've got Adam Gillette right around the corner. Be right back.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. Dom Giordano.
Representative Matt Gaetz, welcome back to Philadelphia. Question from my producer. I didn't egg it on. You are one of the great congresspeople when it comes to hair.
You know, I have a little bit of the blow dry, a little bit of pomade, and then the secret ingredient is at the end, I sprinkle on Kevin McCarthy's tears. And if you use that at just the right moment, you get the elevation.
It's Downtime. Dom Giordano. Weekdays noon till 3 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Splash into savings this Memorial Day with Spring Dance Hot Tubs. Soak in the relaxation and save big on new Hot Spring and Caldera Hot Tubs and save up to $4,000. Plus, when you buy a new Endless Pool Swim Spa, receive a free Aqua Bike and Exercise Kit, a $2,000 value. Looking to upgrade? Your hot tub could be worth up to $4,000. Hurry into Spring Dance Hot Tubs in Jameson, Exton, or in Plymouth Meeting in PA or in Marlton, New Jersey, and upgrade your backyard this summer. Visit us online at springdancehottubs.com for more details. Don't miss out on these incredible savings.
Hey, it's Greg with Kale & Company. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, but it's not too late to get in on the action with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. Listen to this. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 you can use on same-game parlays, like which player will score the first basket, how many three-pointers a specific player will take, and if a player can score 25 or more points. Live bets, championship futures, and so much more. There's so many options right there in the FanDuel app. All you have to do is go to FanDuel.com/Greg to get started. started. FanDuel.com/Greg. There's no better place to get in on all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over, present in PA. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi, I'm Kim Holderness.
And I'm Penn Holderness. You don't have to have an amazing race to the doctor, but you should make time for routine cancer screenings.
I schedule my mammogram and other cancer screenings around my birthday and then treat myself to lunch.
I do too, because, of course, everyone likes lunch.
The C word can be scary, but routine screenings can detect cancer before symptoms appear.
And early detection equals better outcomes.
Go to preventcancer.org to find out which cancer screenings you need.
Are you still holding on to that winter weight? Time to shed that fat and get ready for the warmer weather of spring with NJ Diet. For over a decade, they've helped thousands of people lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. That's nearly twice as fast as weight loss injections and without any of those nasty side effects. NJ Diet uses your hair and saliva along with scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements to get you to shed that fat quickly. Then NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help you keep the weight off. You are fully supervised the entire time to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water. And you even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. Locations in King of Prussia, Cherry Hill, and Newark, Delaware, or available from home with live online consultations. Call 855-5NJ-DIET, 855-5NJ-DIET, or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. Get slimmer before this summer with njdiet.com.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here. If you drive a car, you want it to last a long time and not cost you lots of money in the long run. You need to get your car serviced at United Tire and Service. I get my car serviced at one of their 10 locations throughout the Delaware Valley. You should too. Right now, get an oil change on any make or model, and they'll do a free summer trip check so you're ready to hit the road. 20-point safety check, brakes, belts, important fluid levels, lights, even the spare tire. To find the location nearest you, go to UnitedTire.com. That's UnitedTire.com. Don't drive alone. Drive United.
Imagine outpatient care where all your needs are met in one location. Jefferson Health's Honickman Center is where you'll discover nationally ranked specialty care and more, like patient ambassadors, imaging and lab services, a pharmacy, calming spaces, and valet parking. Designed by patients for patients. Discover a new level of care, created with you in mind. To schedule an appointment, call 1-800-JEFF-NOW.
Window Nation presents the 1210 WPHT Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation. Listen the first Wednesday of every month as Kale and Company shines a spotlight on a local veteran, highlighting their remarkable commitment to the community and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. At Window Nation, there's nothing more important than giving back to the communities we serve. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
You know your customers. Ralph likes his coffee black on Fridays, but Mondays he takes a little cream. Jennifer comes in every 3 years when her lease is up to get the newer and better model. And for some reason, pepperoni pizza sells like crazy on Friday nights. Who knew? At Odyssey, we have the expertise to get your media plan done right. With ads like you're hearing right now, to targeted social media campaigns, search engine optimization, and location-based advertising. Advertise with Odyssey and help us grow your business. Visit ads.odyssey.com.
Are you tired of dealing with those old, inefficient windows in your house? Well, maybe it's time to go Guida. How about that drafty, beat-up-looking entry door you've painted over more times than you can count? Well, go Guida. Need added protection from the elements with a new storm door? Go Guida. And what about that sliding patio door or garage door you've been meaning to replace? Go Guida. Whatever your home improvement needs are, I suggest you go Guida with the great people at Guida Door and Window. To help you get your project started, Guida is offering 20% off all windows and doors while allowing you to start your project with no money down and up to 3 full years to pay it off interest-free. That's right. Receive 20% instant savings with the luxury of paying off your project interest-free for up to 36 months. Restrictions apply, offers for a limited time, so what are you waiting for? It's time you finally go Guida. Call today to schedule a free in-home estimate at 1-877-GO-GUIDA or visit them at GoGuida.com That's GUIDA.com.
Have you been thinking about doing a Roth conversion, but the upfront taxes are holding you back? Welcome to Rothright. We can show you how to significantly reduce taxes on a conversion, potentially saving hundreds of thousands, even millions in taxes over your lifetime. A Roth conversion will give you tax-free income, eliminate required minimum distributions, and leave a tax-free estate to your heirs. Sign up for a free educational seminar now. Call 855-415-ROTH. That's 855-415-ROTH. Rothright is not a financial advisory firm. Consult with a tax professional before making any financial decisions.
Although you try not to, most of us have used an ATM out of network. And at the end, you get that notice that it's going to cost you $4 extra.
Are you kidding me?
So you're paying money to get your own money. It makes you crazy. In retirement, you're going to want to use that 401k, but every time you dip into it, you have to pay taxes. Here we go again. You have to pay money to get your own money.
Oh, come on!
Jim Cipriotti and the Retire Ready Financial Group believes that every retirement plan needs a tax plan. Without it, you're using Uncle Sam's plan. And do you really think that's going to work in your favor? Call Retire Ready Financial Group today at 610-894-7415. That's 610-894-7415 and schedule a complimentary retirement consultation. Or you can find them online at retirereadyfg.com. Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC, NPN number 2083768.
Hey, Mount Laurel, we know your favorite station is WPHT. Tell your smart speaker to play 1210 WPHT.
It's just annoying. Just want to walk through my own campus and go to class.
It's super annoying. It's just frustrating because we work all year for this, and then something like this takes it away. Because we obviously pay to go here and we can't go to class, and school's been online, and a lot of teachers have just canceled because they're frustrated. They can't teach us in the proper way, and we have graduation in 3 weeks.
Students at Drexel University here in Philadelphia speaking out as the media calls it, protesters. You know, those pro-Palestinian encampment protesters who've taken over Drexel. They were on lockdown. That was 2 days ago. The president has spoken out multiple times saying enough is enough, get off our campus. Philadelphia police are there trying to contain the situation. But you hear students, and that was thanks to NBC 10, Aaron Baskerville reporting, speaking to students who are saying this is interrupting our education. We are the customer. We paid for this. This is not fair. That's at Drexel University. Will they move in and boot these trespassers? And that's what they are. They're trespassing, anti-Israeli trespassers. That's what the media should label them as, right? And by the way, Swarthmore College now moving the venue, changing their graduation, and blaming some of this on protesters on their campus. It is ridiculous. And let's get to our next guest again, coming back. And we appreciate, of course, Adam Gillette, president of Accuracy in Media. Adam, your reaction to what's going on at Drexel University and hearing those students who are seniors who are saying this is ridiculous. We can't get to our classes. We've got finals. We're doing our work. You say what, Adam?
You know, it's morally outrageous and it's truly Orwellian because their defenders claim that this is about speech. You know, these radical leftists who haven't liked free speech since Berkeley in the 60s suddenly claim that this is all about speech. Well, I'm totally for speech. Even the most repugnant speech should be allowed. That way we know who the racists are. But what about the students who are paying however much in tuition who can't speak on their own campus where they're paying to be there because it's unsafe? Well, these off-campus agitators, many of them from what's literally called the Revolutionary Communist Party, take over their campus. Outrageous.
It really is. So if you think about what's going on, and I don't know if you heard in our first segment, we were talking to a local parent who actually has been fighting in Chester County, Pennsylvania. This is at the high school, local high school, had a genderqueer witch come in without parental knowledge, consent, nothing. Finally, after the parents were really accused by the superintendent of, just misinformation, disinformation, finally, there's an investigation, freedom of rights request, and finally, yes, they get an admission and an apology from a local principal saying, yeah, this is a violation and we didn't fully realize. Now they're looking into this. But this goes back to even not just colleges. It's obviously starting much earlier, and we can trace it back to, even the teachers union, for example, pushing some of this stuff at them.
Such an excellent point. Everyone likes to say, well, they're radicalized by their college professors. That might have been true decades ago, but these days they're more radical than the college professors, and it's from K through 12 education. It's from radical principles associated with critical race theory and diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives in K through 12 education. And people want to think, well, we don't have that in our community. I met with the teacher and the superintendent, and they don't push that kind of stuff. Well, I've been undercover in over 250 school districts across the country. I meet with those administrators. I meet with those principals, and they brag to me about how they lie to you.
And that takes us to, your latest piece as you're exposing this as far as who's really behind all of this. Who are the organizers? Because in the media, it's portrayed, like you're saying, as, oh, these are college students. Don't you know they're young people, Adam? And they're just out there exploring the world, and they're rebellious by nature. That's not what you have found over and over in your investigation.
No, initially you had two kinds of groups. You had the true blue anti-Semites, many of whom were foreign students who hate Jews. Then you had the radical progressives that were radicalized in K through 12 education. They don't hate Jews per se. They hate Western civilization. They hate the classical liberal values our nation was founded upon. But now with these encampments, many of the campuses, 50 to 80% of these people involved are off-campus agitators, one of whom we met hidden camera undercover at UCLA, and she bragged about being an outside agitator from RevCom. And I've got to tell you, people in Pennsylvania have much to worry about because you're the first I'm telling this to. We've been undercover in school districts throughout your state, and they brag to us about pushing this radical DEI garbage that leads to what we're seeing on these college campuses.
And can you give us a few details as we talk about or are listening for the first time, and this is a breaking news story with Adam Gullett, who, of course, is president of Accuracy in Media, going undercover. And we hear over and over a lot of parents who are aware are trying to get the word out and say, wake up. This is happening in your district. Adam, you're exposing this, and parents need to hear this because I hear all the time, even from relatives across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, they say, oh, not in our district, not here. That's happening somewhere else. You say what? What are you discovering here?
These people are professionals. They're going to tell you what you want to hear rather than actually having a fight about it. And they work on this 24/7. It's their job. Managing your child's education isn't a full-time job for anyone, nor should it have to be. That's what we pay all of our tax dollars for. My gosh. But what we see again and again is they change the terms. They call it social and emotional learning or mental health or inclusion, and they still keep pushing the same radical principles. And when you fight back, they say, well, you just don't want real history to be taught. I'd compromise and give them the history classes if we could keep this stuff out of math class.
Yes. And that's what we see all the time. And even when parents are told, well, these books are a lot of these books are these ideals. They're in the library. Then you see parents who say, no, it's on a rolling cart through the classroom. But what you're saying is as far as this goes, it's a revolution happening right beneath our noses in local school districts. And what you've found, I believe, a lot of parents would be shocked, Adam Gullett.
Yes, and people fight and try to get books that they don't think are age appropriate removed from libraries, and many times they succeed. And then the administrators brag to us about how they just store the books in classrooms instead. It's an endless game of whack-a-mole where they endlessly try to stay one step ahead of the parents. The only solution is universal school choice.
And so one of the things you're finding is this is being pushed by the Revolutionary Communist Party. You're saying that it played a role in stoking the flames of hatred. For example, UCLA is, specifically. But what about here in Pennsylvania? Which groups are you finding are behind all of this? And also, as a follow-up, what can parents do?
Well, we haven't been to your universities as of late. We've largely just been in your K through 12 schools. And I would say the biggest organization that really pushes these ideas, RevCom was late to the party. It's the teachers unions. They're the biggest donors in all of American politics. They donate more money than George Soros, more money than the Kochs. And we've even found in states like Utah, not exactly a bastion of the progressive left, administrators there brag to us about bringing in teachers unions to teach about these divisive topics and bringing in these sorts of people. It's in Utah. It's in deep red Texas. You better believe it's in Pennsylvania.
So what's your advice? I mean, you're not just the president of Accuracy in Media. You're not just an investigative reporter, but you also are a parent. What advice do you give to parents who are listening to you right now and they say, okay, Adam Gullette, how do I combat this? How do I be, and I talked to a local dad off the top of the show and where he had to file freedom of information requests and go through this rigor. He told me off, on the phone when I was setting this up, he said, I'm exhausted. I mean, he's got a bunch of kids. He's got a full-time job. You know what I'm saying? What's a parent to do, Adam?
Sure. Well, I'm not a kid. I'm sorry, I don't have any kids. I'm not a parent. I might be a kid. But in a way, it makes life a heck of a lot easier because it is so challenging to be a parent. My first piece of advice would be do whatever the heck you can to get your child out of traditional public education. You want to think that your school is the good one, just like everyone wants to think that their congressman is the good one. It's generally not. It's that bad. And the second thing would be contact your elected official. There's no reason Pennsylvania shouldn't have universal school choice where the money follows the child and where we fund students rather than systems. Your Democrat governor supports school choice. There's no reason Pennsylvanians shouldn't be kicking and screaming for universal school choice in their state.
Adam Gullette, where can people find you and support your investigative work?
Our website is aim.org, AIM.org. We have action alerts you can use there to demand school choice in your state and to take on these radicals in higher education. Again, it's aim.org.
Adam Gullette, until next time, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So AIM.org, and you'll see, right off the top as they have Spotlight, they have investigations, all of Adam's great work. You can check it out. It's a great website. And they say that in their investigations, they're really trying to expose the hidden agenda of not just campus agitators, but as Adam is saying, this goes deeper. And unfortunately, it's in our school districts locally, and I'm talking about with children. And sorry about that, as far as I had in my head that Adam was a dad. Not yet. Someday. This is the Dawn Show. Your take. You have a reaction, perhaps, or a question for me, 855-839-1210. We will talk about all the other developing stories of the day. There's so much of it. We'll get into it. And as well with Donald J. Trump. I'll give you both sides of the story. What did last night, I was struck by, in particular, and this is a progressive liberal news media site, but one of their major figureheads, one of their anchors there, was talking about what's going to happen to Trump in the coming days. I want you to hear that. I want you to think about it. We'll talk about that as well. And what is rat jacking? Have you heard of this? Rat jacking? The rats, they're alive, well, and taking over. They might carjack your vehicle. What's going on in Philadelphia? We'll talk about that and more right here on The Dawn Show.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Open that window and get a breath of fresh air. This spring, PJ Fitzpatrick has great deals to replace your leaky old windows with beautifully designed, budget-friendly, energy-efficient, American-made windows. PJ Fitzpatrick has a variety of financing packages that work with almost any budget. Plus, PJ Fitzpatrick provides peace of mind with a lifetime guarantee on materials and labor. You can have it all. Visit trustpj.com today for a free design consultation. That's trustpj.com today.
I was afraid to cut the cord, but once I did, I couldn't believe it took so long to do it. Paying too much for my cable bill had become a bad habit. I either wasn't getting what I wanted or never knew where to find any of my favorite shows until it was too late. Plus, the prices just kept going up. Thankfully, I discovered a new way to watch called Philo. For just $25 a month, I can catch all my favorite shows on networks like BET, MTV, and TLC. It even has Nickelodeon for my kids. I can watch anytime I want, anywhere I want. Plus, Philo lets me have up to 3 streams at once, so everyone can watch what they want at the same time. Throw in the unlimited DVR that saves all my favorites for up to a year, and this really is the best deal in TV. I just wish I hadn't waited so long. Sound too good to be true? Well, try it out for yourself, and you'll see why people who love TV love Philo. Go to philo.tv, that's philo.tv, and start your 7-day free trial now.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-688-6641. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com
or call 800-688-6641. That's 800-688-6641.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Do you have a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more that you don't need? Well, don't lapse or surrender your policy. You might be sitting on a gold mine. That's right. You may be able to sell all or part of your life insurance policy to Coventry for cash, or a combination of cash and coverage with no future premiums. Even a term policy. Call Coventry Direct at 800-411-8300 or visit coventrydirect.com to find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. That's 800-411-8300. For over 25 years, we've helped thousands of people sell their policies, and we can probably help you too. Call us today at 800-411-8300 or visit coventrydirect.com to find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. That's 800-411-8300. Call now.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-575-6481.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com
or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, it's Greg with Kale & Company. The NBA playoffs are in full swing. but it's not too late to get in on the action with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. Listen to this. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 you can use on same-game parlays, like which player will score the first basket, how many three-pointers a specific player will take, and if a player can score 25 or more points. Live bets, championship futures, and so much more. There's so many options right there in the FanDuel app. All you have to do is go to FanDuel.com/Greg to get started. FanDuel.com/Greg. There's no better place to get in on all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over, present in PA. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Crash Proof Retirement records all financial meetings. All promises made in recorded financial meetings become legally binding between Crash Proof Retirement and the investing client. Crash Proof Retirement provides all of their clients with a certificate of authenticity, further documenting that recording financial meetings brings fiduciary responsibility to the highest level.
I'm Jack Gunning from Bluebell, Pennsylvania. I don't know whether anybody can offer you the security that Crash Proof Retirement does. I have this certificate that tells me they're a fiduciary. Everything is recorded and they have your best interest at heart. That certificate is 100% documentation that you know what they're saying is 100% correct. Other companies don't have this guarantee. This certificate means an awful lot for me, and it should mean an awful lot for you.
Certify your retirement future. Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the William Penn Inn on June 11th. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Ethan is in New Jersey. He wants to talk about the protesters at Drexel.
It's very easy for people to say free Palestine or from the river to the sea or whatever they're saying. Scariest thing for me is that a lot of these people don't know what they're talking about.
Ethan, we appreciate the call. Thank you very much, buddy. How about that? Not too often we get high school graduates 18 years old calling into the show. I think that's another demo we're kicking ass in.
By the way, guys, another good month.
Yeah, I know.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
You've heard me talk so much over the years about Piazza Auto Group. You can explore the most desirable luxury SUVs with the Defender, Discovery, and Range Rover models. Just schedule a test drive. It's so much fun. At Land Rover, Willow Grove, Westchester, Harrisburg, or Wilmington. Find yours today, Piazza Auto Group. And you know I'm still in my Piazza Honda minivan. I love Awesome Ross, but someday, I'm going to get in that luxury vehicle I've been dreaming of with my friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles. I mean, they really have thousands of new and certified pre-owned vehicles, some of the most beautiful brands on the road, powerful, sleek, Mercedes-Benz, Land Rover, which I mentioned, Jaguar, Maserati, BMW, Porsche. Just visit them, piazzapremiumautomobiles.com. Stop by one of their Pennsylvania, Delaware, or New Jersey dealers. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
The developing story of the day is that the RNC headquarters, the RNC committee on lockdown this morning, reportedly somebody sent a package with something that looked like blood-filled or red liquid-filled vials that broke in the package delivery. So they were vials of blood, or what looked like blood, sent in a package. Something breaks open, and out of an abundance of caution, if you will, they had to evacuate. This is the headquarters, national headquarters of the Republican National Committee on lockdown this morning. And as Anthony says, real nice. Is this making headlines on, across the board? And if this had happened at the DNC, God forbid, it would happen anywhere. But I always, look at media and media bias by omission. I don't see this out there as big a headline as I think it would be if it happened at the DNC.
Top of the 11-hour CNN. They're on their third story. No mention of it.
Mm-hmm. And Fox, to the New York Post credit, they did put it front and center. So we'll talk about that. We've been talking about Chester County, Pennsylvania, that Chester County, or excuse me, not Chester County, Delaware County, Chester, Pennsylvania, where it appears now, according to authorities, it appears that a workplace shooting, what a tragedy, has led to 2 people killed, multiple people injured as a disgruntled worker. That's how they're describing this, opening fire on a business. So we're following that story. I've been covering that this morning as well. And then another story that I just wanted to point out to you, and I think this week, if I recall, or within the past 10 days perhaps, we had talked about at least one of the UPenn students, the Ivy League, University of Pennsylvania. Remember that she had complained that she was suspended over the anti-Israel, encampment, and that she was one of several students who had been suspended. Remember, only 6 actual students were arrested. So nearly 20 arrested, but only 6 of them actual students. And she was one of 3 that UPenn, to their credit, had suspended. Well, she had spoken out to the Philadelphia Inquirer and said, "I'm homeless. What am I going to do? I'm destitute. Oh my God. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do." And this whole spiel. Well, now we know who she is, and she's a lovely young lady in her bikini clad, and she's kind of hanging out of her red bikini, and a very attractive young lady. I'm seeing like Anthony Dorenzo, quickly looking. I'm just teasing, looking at the pictures of Eliana Atienza.
Yeah, that's gonna get flagged in our email. Is IT gonna yell at us?
Yes,
you sent me a bikini pic.
Because I did send that out. She's a really attractive young lady, and you know what? To get into UPenn, even if you're rich, filthy rich, as she is, well, now this has gone viral that she's from a very wealthy family, a Filipino family. So she's from another country, but maybe has some dual citizenship. Mom looks like a brilliant lady, Wharton Business School. But yeah, the young brilliant beauty here in her bikini, if you look at her Instagram and her social media, she's not exactly homeless. I'm just saying.
Shocker, a Penn student has money.
Yeah.
I'm so surprised.
Just looking at, we have conservativetours.com and looking forward to the next conservative tour that we take. But, this young lady is, what is she, Anthony? 22 years young. She has traveled the world. This is the epitome of not just a one percenter, but her travel log is incredible.
Well, but you should, to that point, you should understand that no matter how bad things are in America, and trust me, I'm here to criticize all that stuff every single day, but you have to understand, if you're traveling, you should realize what we have here. And that's the redundant part of all of this.
Well, this is a young lady I'm trying to work in the word endowment or endowed just to make a play on words here, but this is a young lady seriously who is blessed in her life.
Privileged, yes. This is privileged. It's not about race, it's about your own situation and, if you're guarded from the world, and this seems like that.
Yeah, and she's somebody, I guess she would be, technically, when we talk about the so-called black and brown community, she looks like a lovely lady would be qualified in that community as somebody who's Filipino. But you look at just the jewelry, just the watch. I mean, dripping in tens of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry, and looking at all of her pictures, traveling around the world, and the lavish lifestyle, going to this Ivy League school. What a blessing. But there she was as a poser, pretending that she's this poor college student, and she's just trying to, fight for freedom of expression and blah, 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 blah. You get the picture. But 855-839-1210 if you want to comment on that one. I do want to get your take moments here. We only have a few minutes, and we'll take a break, and then we have a great guest upcoming. But just your take on this entire breaking news story. It happened yesterday. I know former President Donald J. Trump had put out there and spoken about this on Truth Social, in which he had said, he was coming out of court. And I commented on this, I think 24 hours ago, in fact, that he was just coming out of court after that nightmare situation where, the judge, Juan Merchan in Manhattan, as the defense had rested. And Trump comes out of court, and he's trying to get together, the campaign. And he says he gets hit with the next news that we learned all of this information, that in fact, you have news that in the FBI paperwork, when they raided Mar-a-Lago in the Jack Smith case, that the wording was that, yes, the FBI was authorized to use deadly force when raiding Mar-a-Lago. And this went viral. I know that MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she had put out there that this is the Biden administration, I'm paraphrasing here, that this is the Biden administration basically putting a hit out on President Trump at the time and going after him, etc. And I want to get your take on that, 855-839-1210. I will tell you that, number one, this is a situation to me that is not about the FBI. That's not what this is about. I think that's a mistake to pit one agency against the next. That you have Secret Service agents who would, and this is my thought, and tell me if you think I'm wrong. What I thought of was, okay, really? Do you really think that FBI agents were going to open fire against, let's say they go to raid, and it was ridiculous, it was overreach, it was crazy, but let's say FBI agents, they go there and they go to raid Mar-a-Lago and this is historic, a private residence where you have a former president, a former first lady, Melania Trump, their teenage son. Remember, this is 2.5 years ago. Their teen son, right? And this is their private Really, this is historic. But can you imagine that the question here is, really, do you think that the FBI was going to open fire, and then you picture Secret Service agents will sacrifice themselves in a shootout with the FBI? That's the scenario that's being painted. And so what really happened is I read through the court records just last summer. They did have a former deputy agent with representing the FBI, and because the Judiciary Committee, they're all looking into this, right? And so I read all these documents because I'm a policy wonk, and I look through all this stuff. But what really happened, if you look through the documents, read through the lines, a lot of it's redacted. In my humble opinion, what happened here was that the FBI, because the Biden administration and Merrick Garland, who, thank God, he's not on the Supreme Court of the United States, right? They put these agents in peril, and they put them in a horrible compromising position. So what really happened, reading between the lines, is that the FBI goes to the Secret Service, and they forge, because they're forced into this horrible situation, and they get somebody in a confidential manner, and they say, yo, and this is Dawn talking here, obviously, yo, we got our guy, and he's saying, the big guy, the big guy? Yeah, he says we got to go into Mar-a-Lago. When are you guys, when's the former first family, when are they going to be away? So they orchestrate that to make sure that the former president of the United States and those Secret Service agents who are sworn to protect him, they are not even there. They made sure they were in Bedminster. That's what really happened. It puts the agents in a horrible position. That's what's going on here. That's what you should know. And if you're in law enforcement at any level, if you're in the FBI, if you're in the Secret Service, if you're in the Pennsylvania State Police, remember, Pennsylvania State Police endorsed Shapiro, and remember the agent who got fired, the officer who got fired recently on I-95 following instruction? If you're Philadelphia, if you're local, why would anybody in law enforcement vote Biden? Please tell me. Please enlighten me. These individuals do not have your back. They put you in peril, and when, God forbid, somebody whines about you, they throw you under the bus. They don't have your back. They put you in danger. Law enforcement community, hello, why would you vote for this president or any Democrat right now in Pennsylvania or beyond? Why? They don't have your back. This is one further illustration of that. That's my take. 855-839-1210. I got to take a quick break. Be right back.
WPHT. We're kicking off the summer of 24 with a shore tradition. This Friday, stop by the Frank S. Farley Plaza on the EC Expressway. Donald Giordano will broadcast live noon till 3. Great fun and giveaways, vintage cars, a petting zoo, and more. Plus, it's Free Toll Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Chickies and Pete's, home of the world-famous crab fries, will pay your eastbound Egg Harbor toll. This Friday, head down the shore with Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Splash into savings this Memorial Day with Spring Dance Hot Tubs. Soak in the relaxation and save big on new Hot Spring and Caldera Hot Tubs and save up to $4,000. Plus, when you buy a new Endless Pool Swim Spa, receive a free Aqua Bike and Exercise Kit, a $2,000 value. Looking to upgrade? Your hot tub could be worth up to $4,000. Hurry into Spring Dance Hot Tubs in Jameson, Exton, or in Plymouth Meeting in PA or in Marlton, New Jersey, and upgrade your backyard this summer. Visit us online at springdancehot.com for more details. Don't miss out on these incredible savings.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
The summer-like air mass remains in place. We'll have a mix of sun and clouds today. It'll be more humid with a high 88. Tonight, partly cloudy, shower storm possible overnight, low 68. And for Thursday, partly sunny and humid, scattered strong to severe storms possible, high 84.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. We now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world, protecting America, fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Water quality continues to be in topic. Ensure your family is drinking clean, pure water with the Connecticut water system from Martin Water Conditioning. The Connecticut system improves all the impurities from your water. What comes out of the tap? Crystal clear, all natural, delicious water. Put the Martin Water Conditioning family's passion for water to work for you. Do what I did. Contact Martin Water Conditioning. Visit martinwater.com. martinwater.com. Be sure to tell them Dom sent you.
The Angie's List you know and trust is now Angie, and we're so much more than just a list. We still connect you with top local pros and show you ratings and reviews, but now we also let you compare upfront prices on hundreds of projects and book a service instantly. We can even handle the rest of your project from start to finish. So remember, Angie's List is now Angie, and we're here to get your job done right. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
As a roofer, spring means the start of my busy season, which means I've got to get organized. With help from Beacon, I can save time with Beacon Pro Plus and 24/7 access to live pricing, delivery tracking, order history, and more. Plus, this spring, I can earn $1,000 and the chance to win a $25,000 backyard renovation just by buying my Certainty shingles online with Beacon. No purchase necessary. Now that's what I call a spring cleanup. Visit BECN.com for official rules and to start earning entries.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-688-6641.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-688-6641. That's 800-688-6641.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
See Joe Conklin and the City Rhythm Orchestra in a tribute to Philly sports fans at Wildwood Catholic Academy in North Wildwood and at the Ocean City Music Pier in Ocean City, New Jersey.
Alan Iverson, Cole Hamels, Joel Embiid.
My dad set this up. This was actually a gift to us to bring us all together, come see Joe and relive all the Philadelphia history. Come see it. It's amazing.
That's Joe Conklin and the City Rhythm Orchestra at Wildwood Catholic on June 29th and the Boardwalk in Ocean City, New Jersey on July 13th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com.
JoeConklin.com! Free speech lives here with Don Stensland weekdays 10 till noon. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.
Did the Biden administration, Merrick Garland, put law enforcement, FBI agents, Secret Service agents in peril with a horrible persecution type policy? So I'm pushing back on the claims by MTG. She said this was an assassination plot. President Trump was, in my humble opinion, never in danger. Those Secret Service agents, they are sworn to protect, and their lives, they would put their lives on the line. So to me, it's putting law enforcement in peril and not being afraid to just, at the very least, to be obtuse, to be inconsiderate. Those are the least things I could say. This is putting them in danger. That's the truth here. And I wish Trump would come out and say that, because Trump, as we know, is pro-law enforcement, law and order. John, you say what?
Well, you're talking to me. I guess I'm on.
Hey, John.
Yeah, I'm here. I understand this, but it's all nobody. Everybody's breaking the law, but nobody can do anything about it. Now, what is this country?
Yeah.
If that's the case, and it doesn't make, and it's not just a street crime and stuff. This is major stuff. I mean, the border, it's everybody's, you people, Fox, Newsmax, he's breaking the law. Well, how does that happen? I mean, you've got all these 530 people in Congress and all that. I mean, it doesn't make any difference whether you're a Democrat or Republican. If you're breaking the law, you're breaking the law. It's wide open. Is it true or not? Or is it just a talking point? So you people can say one thing, and the other ones, the MSNBCs, can say something else. Nothing's being done. Not you want to talk about the street stuff, which is lower, whatever you want to call it. But when you're talking about people running the country, breaking the law, breaking it or not, it's just their talking points. It just keeps you people on the air.
Well,
I mean, I would be screaming bloody murder to everybody. You have the platform to find out how true it is and how not true it is.
Well,
and nothing happened.
John, I thank you for the call. First of all, I never say you people, right? I never say that in a serious way. If you're calling, I don't care if you're progressive, if you're right, conservative, Democrat, Republican. We are in a community. We are fellow Americans. We have to have the conversation, number one. But number two, we have a problem with law enforcement recruitment in this country. And that's in part what I'm talking about. This topic that I'm talking about, and by the way, I started out the show at 10 o'clock talking about parental rights, if you may recall, and transparency, and a push for transparency, and local superintendents who, yes, are these progressives, unfortunately, who refuse to answer parents' questions to the point parents have to go to court when they're the taxpayers to push for freedom of information rights and find out what's going on in their own kids' district. So I am the queen of transparency. Trust me, that's my new title, Queen of QOT, Queen of Transparency. All right. But what I'm really talking about here, I am calling out. I am calling out those like Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, who put it out there and said this was an assassination attempt. No, not really. That's not what it's about, in my humble opinion. So I am calling out that element, but at the same time saying the truth here is that this was a horrible policy. And by the way, for the FBI to come out and respond and say, well, this was standard operating procedure, no, it's not. Because there is nothing standard about raiding the private residence of the former president of the United States of America, the residence where he lives with his wife and his underage child. That is not standard. And it is not standard when the Secret Service is there and they have a vow to protect and serve. So that's crazy. So that's what I'm talking about here. So I hope that answers your question, if you will. But we got to get to my next guest, Anthony Hennon, great writer, centersquare.com. And Anthony talking about the latest Pennsylvania headlines. Oh, my goodness. Yesterday, we had Justin Trudeau talking about unions from Canada. Let us not forget about Justin Trudeau in Canada shutting down truckers and going into their bank, shutting down their bank accounts. Mr. Pro-Union, not. But Trudeau, the Veep was here, Kamala, and, of course, one of my favorite stories, Governor Josh Shapiro in his RV. Hi, Anthony. How are you?
Hey, Don. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. I'll start there with Governor Josh Shapiro, the RV tour, talking about America's 250th celebration. And so he wants to talk about this 2 years ahead, obviously. And what do you think about this? And what are you writing about with the RV tour?
Yeah, so I think it's a good time to live in Philadelphia. I think a a lot of these city and state leaders are reminiscing on, the 1976 celebrations and how that did not pan out exactly as they would have hoped. So they're really putting in a lot of effort here to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, making sure that things are humming along here. Yesterday, Shapiro came to town and talked about a few different events coming up. The big unveiling, if you're into this sort of thing, is they're partnering with the TED conference, the TED Talks that you can see online. They'll be doing a series on democracy and what that means and what the future looks like. And this is also throughout the week, Governor Shapiro and his family are packing it into an RV blazoned with Pennsylvania's new tourism brand as Pennsylvania, the Great American Getaway. And they're making about 50 stops over the next 6 days or so in 14 counties, trying to promote what Pennsylvania has to offer, trying to, when tourists come in for any of the celebrations, trying to get them across the state and point out that in Pennsylvania, there's something here for everyone. And as Shapiro repeated, about 72 million Americans live within a 4-hour drive of Pennsylvania. So they're really pushing to try to build up Pennsylvania's tourism economy, tourism industry, and show more of the Commonwealth to people who may not be so familiar with it.
Yeah, and I love it. I love Pennsylvania. This is a beautiful. When I have friends or family from other parts of the country, and they say, "Wow, I didn't know Pennsylvania, has these mountainous regions." And by the way, Philadelphia with our park system and the Wissahickon. I mean, we are a beautiful state. I also love that Shapiro is in an RV, which I love RVs, but they get about 6 to 8 miles per gallon. Fantastic. I mean, did anybody ask? Is it an EV RV?
It is absolutely not EV RV. I did put in a public records request to the governor's office to figure out how much this thing costs, how much was the paint job, the fuel costs. So hopefully, in a while, I may have some of these answers, but that is yet to be seen. I do enjoy, the Pennsylvania. You look at the RV and on the paint job, they also have a pretzel right on there. So you're getting a little bit of state culture all around.
Yeah, seriously, I love it. But I just thought, they're always talking about all these restrictions. You've written about restrictions that the state has ongoing and the impact of that. But then, for their family to be in an RV, unless, and we'll see what your Freedom of Information request and your request, what it renders, because an RV, like I say, 6 to 8 miles per gallon, kind of in contrast, if you will, to an agenda that says, let's talk about climate change, EVs, and forcing individuals and companies and businesses to cut back, right?
Yeah, I mean, you look at state surveys of Pennsylvanians or Americans in general. A lot of people like making sure putting money into helping to preserve the environment or make sure nature stays natural and pristine. But at the same time, when push comes to shove, people are not very willing to necessarily change their lifestyles or pay more to get there. We all like to have something for nothing, and I think that also butts up against just the practicality of it's very difficult to move around Pennsylvania without really putting in some money to energy.
Yes, this is true. Which and here we are, this energy-rich state, and if only they'd tap into it. But I digress here. So let's talk about some of your other topics. When you think about some of the IFO projects, for example, $700 million in growth in general revenue next year. Take me through these IFO projects, what you're writing about here.
Yeah, so this is coming from the Independent Fiscal Office, which is sort of like a state-based, congressional budget office where they try to come in and give some nonpartisan analysis from anything to, taxes in the state, legislation effects, but they also they do revenue projections to really get a sense of the governor's budget proposal or what to expect. Generally, they lean a little more on the conservative side, not in a partisan way, but just trying to figure out as close as they can to how much money we'll be having. And they did a bit of a revision for their the current fiscal year, their projections, they made a $140 million upward revision. So they expect the general fund to receive about $45.3 billion. And it's looking, relatively positive for next year. It's projecting that we'll see revenues grow into the general fund by about $700 million. So, that gives us a little more flexibility here as far as, looking ahead to the budget. We're not coming in under what we expected to have. We're doing a little better. We're seeing drops in revenue coming in from the corporate net income tax as that starts to decrease over the next several years. But personal income tax revenues have been up and elevated. So, it's looking fairly healthy so far. There's some trends here to keep an eye on, and we'll see what happens with that. What we're really noticing is home sales are still low. People are holding tight. If you have an interest rate on your mortgage that's around 3.5%, no one's really itching to trade that in for a 7% one, as we're looking at right now.
Yeah, I could see that. And part of this is you write about Treasury collections. Can we let Stacey Garrity, Treasury Secretary, is this part of Stacey Garrity's department as far as Treasury collections?
Treasury collections are doing very well. I think Garrity, as her record has shown, she's not just throwing around money. She's not trying to really do anything too radical over there. So I think she deserves some credit here. But this is a national trend. Just interest rates are up, and so we're getting a lot more a higher return on Treasury bonds, et cetera, like a lot of other states. I think that's high praise. Any state official who is avoiding mistakes, I think that's all we can ask for. And when we get people with too much ambition trying to do something big, that can often backfire.
Oh, well said. Take me through what else as we look at this. I want to get into this, that the Senate session, the recordings are publicly inaccessible.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a headache for me just in my work. But Pennsylvania kind of stands out here. The Pennsylvania House, the House Democrats post this just right on YouTube. They film all their committee hearings live and the general sessions. You can pull up YouTube and you can look at House proceedings, whenever you want. They are usually fairly quick to get up there. But that is not the same in the Senate. When we're looking nationwide, Pennsylvania is one of only 4 states that do not archive their legislative sessions online. We're there with Alabama, Illinois, and Nebraska do not post sessions online, nor does the Northern Marianas Commonwealth legislature, if you're interested in Indo-Pacific happenings. So you can watch these things live, but they're not necessarily the most prompt things, or you may have hours of downtime. If you're working on a Wednesday afternoon when this session is going in the Senate, you can't watch it if you miss it. I haven't had an issue when I reach out to the Senate if they'll send me a copy upon request. But I think this is just a broader issue we see in Pennsylvania state government. Some state agencies are very good about posting their hearings or meetings or whatever else online, or giving you a remote option. Others, not so much. I've had the experience with DEP, their Environmental Justice Advisory Board. Their meetings can run 6 hours, and they do not post them publicly afterward. I had to submit a records request to finally get them to give me the recording. So we have the situation a lot, especially after the pandemic. State agencies, legislatures, they're much better about streaming these things or having a recording, but they're also not exactly, getting high marks for posting these quickly or promptly online. Some states do a great job of this, but Pennsylvania, we still have a lot of room to improve.
Is part of this, you think, that I just have to wonder if it's in part because people have an antiquated sense of they don't have somebody in charge. I mean, it's pretty easy, and I'm even thinking maybe we can, I'll get one of my teenage kids when they're, off this summer and they're just doing the sports camps. Maybe they have to go, because if you had it live, you could create a site, right, and just get somebody to make sure if you download it at the time that it's live, you could download it, right? It's just you have to physically go to it when it's live and physically download the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speculate too much because this is out of my pay grade here.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I think when you think about it, a lot of these things, especially when I mean, I think especially when it's state government, you get in that status quo situation, right, where they're more averse to change, even if it's a good change, and they're also not necessarily prioritizing things that are not going to, give them a clear benefit. And I think there is a clear benefit to the public when you get transparency, when you get better, accountability where the public can easily access this and easily see what's going on. But until, a lot of this stuff, until there's something major happening, or if there's a scandal or if something goes wrong, that's when people really pressure them. And I think so far, aside from journalists and some, public accountability groups, they don't necessarily feel that pressure. So there's not necessarily a really driving force to push their hand on this, unfortunately.
I do want to get to, talking about the gross receipts tax. I've talked a lot about this in Pennsylvania here. So take me through what you see here.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a weird tax and a rare one. It used to be very common in the past, but this is, I think a lot of these taxes disappeared. I mean, anywhere from 50 years to almost a century ago. In Pennsylvania, the gross receipts tax, there's no statewide tax, but there's a number of local gross receipt taxes. So I'm based in Philadelphia, and I see this. That hits on my power bill comes in. Gross receipt taxes are levied on electric companies or telecoms or transportation companies, private banks, healthcare managed care organizations. So this hits. We've actually seen this creep up. The IFO noted this past fiscal year they've seen elevated gross receipts taxes come in. But the problem or the criticism that we see on this are these are taxes that are hit not at like the end of the process. This is a tax that falls, from the beginning of production to the end. So it kind of builds on, the Tax Foundation, which does a ton of research on all things taxes. They argued policymakers increasingly recognized that these taxes were structurally unsound, distorted firms' incentive to reinvest in their business models, and eliminated the profits of businesses with already narrow profit margins. So we've seen a lot of states have moved away from this. Statewide, I think there's only a few states out there that still have one on a state level. It's like Ohio and Delaware have a state-level gross receipts tax. But I think they're 2 of maybe 7. I mean, only a handful of states really do this. But, this sticks around in Pennsylvania, and this still brings in revenue to the state. And it's one of those weird ones, right, where no one really pays attention to this. But if you're in an industry where that hits, it's a bothersome one, to put it lightly.
It's a problem on my PICO bill, right? I know that they're trying.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I reported that a week or so ago that they were, and I think you include that in one of your articles that, it's a burden, and with our high, power, electricity rates and so on and so forth, and it affects Medicaid, right? Medicaid organizations. So I know that they're working through that. And some of this stuff, I know we're getting down into the weeds, but it all matters because we pay. It's a trickle down as we pay for it. Anthony Hennon, until next time, thank you so much, my friend. Always appreciate your great reporting.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony Hennon. So I know that the gross receipts, if you want to read that story, he goes all through as far as Pennsylvania, how the Commonwealth ranks 34th nationally for state and local sales taxes. A lot of people moving south to get away from all this stuff, who it really impacts. And so he wrote an article, actually it shows in Broad and Liberty, but normally thecentersquare.com. Anthony Hennon, just a great human being, and he writes about all of these different issues. I think does a great job, is always writing. 855-839-1210 if you want to sound off. This is The Dawn Show. We'll take a quick break at Dawn Stensland on X, on Twitter. What is rat jacking? We'll talk about that. I do want to tee up and talk about the latest on Trump and get into that a bit as well. But I got to talk about my kitchen, right? I've talked a lot about kitchen magic, and you're tired of your old, outdated kitchen, maybe that bathroom that needs an update. You need to give my friends at Kitchen Magic a call. They offer no shortage of solutions, by the way, for that new room in your home. New vanity, tub shower conversions. You're going to love it. Plus, an industry-leading warranty. They're the 10-year recipient of the Lehigh Valley's top workplaces. Right now, you can get 40% off installation of your remodel, but only until May 31st. Put this on the calendar. Get your free in-home consultation today. KitchenMagic.com. KitchenMagic.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/250. Ramp.com/250. RAMP.com/250.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Introducing the Honickman Center at Jefferson Health. Outpatient care designed by patients like you. Together, we're shaping the future of medicine, where advanced technology and comprehensive services ensure convenience and accessibility for all patients. Everything you need to simplify the complexity of care is available in one location. Uncompromising care delivered by world-class physicians. To schedule an appointment, call 1-800-JEFF-NOW.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. You don't want to miss out on the Memorial Sale at Rescue Natural Supplements going on now with prices rising across the country. Rescue is rolling back pricing to the year 2010. Plus, enjoy their fantastic 2 bottles, get 1 free, and buy 3 bottles, get 2 free Memorial deals. Stock up on your favorites. Save big with Rescue rollback pricing and generous free bottle offers, whether you're in need of 1250 omega-3s, cholesterol supporters, probiotics, or natural pain relief. Everything is on sale. To order, call 800-26-ALIVE. That's 800-262-5483 and speak to a Rescue product consultant or shop online at res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Don't miss this opportunity for huge savings on over 50 Rescue products to tackle your health goals. Remember, 2010 rollback prices and the Memorial deals are going on now through May 30th. So go shop res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Do it today.
Ad paid for by AG Marketing Group. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message. Getting out of a timeshare commitment is not easy, and it takes time. But we specialize in helping consumers legally get rid of their expensive timeshares forever. Can't get the vacation dates that work for you? Maybe you felt taken advantage of or forced into the timeshare? Maybe you just can't continue to shoulder those monthly payments any longer. If you need to eliminate your timeshare commitment, then you need to take down this number, 800-866-7061. We will safely and legally get rid of your timeshare payments forever, all with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't continue to let your timeshare be a financial burden to you and your loved ones. Call us now at 800-866-7061. The call is free, the consultation is free. Call 800-866-7061. That's 800-866-7061. Again, 800-866-7061.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we have absolutely incredible offers and a plethora of both new and certified Volvos from which to choose. We are eager to offer amazingly competitive prices, plus an additional $1,000 Costco discount on all new Cherry Hill Volvos. When leasing or purchasing a new or certified Cherry Hill Volvo, you become a valued part of our team. Join Cherry Hill Volvo for the pricing and attention you deserve. I am Judith Krupnick, president of Cherry Hill Volvo. know.
Ready for pool time this Memorial Day weekend? At Leslie's, we've got you covered. Save up to 20% on all things pool. We have everything you need in stock and at a great price. Take the guesswork out of pool care. Come into Leslie's for a free 10-point AccuBlue water test to ensure your water is clean, safe, and beautiful. And with our price match promise, you never have to compromise on quality or price. Get set for all your pool time fun with Leslie's. Dive in and get started. Shop online at lesliespool.com or at one of our 1,000 locations. Leslie's, we know pools.
Do you have a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more that you don't need? Well, don't lapse or surrender your policy. You might be sitting on a gold mine. That's right. You may be able to sell all or part of your life insurance policy to Coventry for cash, or a combination of cash and coverage with no future premiums, even a term policy. Call Coventry Direct at 800-411-8300 or visit coventrydirect.com to find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. That's 800-411-8300. For over 25 years, we've helped thousands of people sell their policies, and we can probably help you too. Call us today at 800-411-8300 or visit coventrydirect.com to find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. That's 800-411-8300. Call now.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Tune in to Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Phil Cannella and Joanne Small. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210.
Harry, if you watch any more of those stupid financial shows, I'm filing for divorce.
How am I going to keep up with our retirement accounts?
At JML Financial Group, we want you watching your grandkids playing soccer and sunsets in Hawaii, not the latest rumor of a market crash. Surprisingly, with proper income planning, the stock market shouldn't even be a concern. The money came in every 2 weeks while you worked. It should be the same in your retirement years. Let us show you how. Call JML Financial Group today at 856-925-6674. That's 856-925-6674. Or at